Hey everybody, welcome back to The Real Deal. Thanks for listening, I appreciate it. So, we just honored Juneteenth, which has been a federal holiday since 2021. But it's been around for a long, long time, and a lot of people down in Texas celebrated it and honored it because it meant a lot to them. I mean, freed people, that's a good thing. But the problem is, most people don't know anything about it. And what bothers me about Juneteenth is not the fact that a lot of people don't know real history or anything like that, or they don't teach the truth in schools, or they just sugarcoat it with like one page or something like that. But not enough people acknowledge it. And I was very disappointed this year that not enough, and I'll say it like it is. I'll tell the truth. That's why you're here. That's why I'm here. I'll tell the straight truth on The Real Deal. Not enough white people acknowledged it. Out of all the social media networks that I'm on, and the thousands of followers and call them friends, if you will, that I have, there was just me and one other white person that even posted anything about it. Black folks, yeah, you get it. You know what it's all about. Good for you. White folks, I really think you should know what this is all about. So this was after the war between the states, the Civil War, whatever you want to call it. Many people down south call it the Great Federal Aggression. People up north call it the Rebellion, the Confederate Rebellion. Everybody's got a different name for it. So during the war between the states, Abraham Lincoln, he had the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, and it thus said there was no more slavery. All slaves were free. But the thing was, the Confederate States of America did not have to follow the United States Constitution because they seceded. They became their own basic country. So that only took place in the North. And I'll tell you this, I love history. I've gone all over the country. I've been all over the place. When you go down south, they don't hide the fact, and they don't sugarcoat what happened. They're out there, they're telling you this happened. We're preserving history. We're not proud of this, but it is real. This is what really happened. This is why, and this is why we're letting you know about it, so it doesn't happen again. Kind of like Germany with the Nazis. It wasn't their fault. And this happened, 150 years ago. It wasn't people's today's fault. But they're not going to sugarcoat it and hide it like a lot of countries do with some of the things they did. Like the Japanese with Pearl Harbor. They're like, it wasn't us. You deserved it. They never apologized for that. Then again, America never apologized for Hiroshima or Nagasaki, which was horrific. But the South, they're trying to preserve it, because they don't want anything like that to happen again. And I give them respect for that. And the North looked down on the South for this. But the North, other than plantations being up here, the North had laws on the books. If a slave got up north and was free, there were laws up here that said you got a reward. It might be only $25, but back then $25 was a lot of money. And you could send that guy back. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of the old Dred Scott case. That was a heavy-duty stuff right there, because he claimed he was free because he was in Missouri, and Missouri wasn't a slave state. That was heavy-duty, went all the way to the Supreme Court. I mean, these people deserve their freedom. This never should have happened. And I'll be honest with you, it's still happening today in a lot of countries around the world. There is still slavery, child labor. It's horrific. That's another day, another subject. But the North was just as guilty. The North had the laws to return slaves. Most of your slaves were brought in through the Atlantic trade system through the North. Delaware, Boston, New York, all the harbor cities were bringing them in. They were making big money on this. Now, the slave ships, when you were out there, and here's the thing too, they were going to Africa to catch them. Other tribes were selling them, and that made them protected. It's like, okay, don't take us, but we're going to capture these guys and sell them to you. And then it got resold. And I mean, these slaves were not cheap. They were thousands of dollars. And you figure that out in today's money, That's a lot of freaking money, people. Now, so the Emancipation Proclamation didn't end. But what did end slavery for real, was the official end was on December 18th, 1865 with the 13th Amendment. And that passed and all slavery was done. The slave trade went on from the early onset years of America till 1867. And all in all estimate, because, I mean, they did keep a lot of good books on this stuff, but the estimate is about 12.5 million people were brought from Africa and other black countries. Just tell it like it is. You didn't get the Spaniards coming in here. They were a part of this. They were capturing the slaves and helping, making money off this. The British were doing it. The French, go figure. But there was 12.5 million people. You had more people in a lot of southern states that were slaves than were normal American United States citizens. And the slaves didn't have any freedom. They didn't have any rights. And even after they were free, we'll get to that, they didn't have any rights. But what was June 19th? June 19th, 1865. See, we didn't have internet back then. You didn't have telephones. Everything was telegraph. And the war was over. So slaves were supposed to be all freed. But in Texas, they didn't know about it because the North had cut down all the telegram lines. So it took a long time for them. And there was about 250,000 people still enslaved when finally they found out that they were free. Bless them for that. Bless them for that. You know, when the Civil War started, there was about 4 million slaves. But over the course of time, throughout all these years, a couple hundred years of America being naughty, the United States, there was 12.5 million. So 4 million people. That's a lot of people. And like I said, there's still slavery in parts of the world. Now, those people, and Texas honors this. Texas has been honoring this for a long time. Those people were free, but they didn't know about it. Now, even after they were free, they still didn't have rights. They still didn't have rights. They kept them down. And I hate to say it, racism is always going to be here. I hate that. I don't like racism. It bothers me a lot. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are, what ethnicity you are. Hey, man, if you're a good person, you're a good person. I don't care, you know. And if I don't like somebody and it turns out they're a black dude, it's not because he's black I don't like him. It's because he's a butthole. And if someone says, oh, you're a racist because you don't like him because he's black, there's a lot of white people I don't like. There's a heck of a lot of white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people in this world that I don't like. And it's not because they're white. It's because they're royal buttholes. I'm keeping it clean in case kids are listening. But after that happened, everybody was celebrating Juneteenth down in Texas. Texas kept it. Texas has been celebrating it for years. America, they didn't care. They didn't really care. Like I said, the blacks weren't really free. They weren't allowed to live in certain communities. They weren't allowed to vote. They took away their civil rights. And you had all the Southern Democrats down there keeping him down for years and years and years. Even when they got the rights, the Civil Rights Act, when it was passed by LBJ, I'm not going to say the word, but when he passed it, he told all his people there, you get me elected, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 100 years. And that's the truth. Everybody heard it. It was recorded. It's hard to find a recording now because they knew what they were doing. Like, we might want to get rid of this here. And there's still systemic racism to this day. And I hate to say it, I don't see it stopping. It's more low-key now. It's more low-key than ever. You still have groups. You just don't see it like you used to. It's on social media and stuff. They can hide a lot easier. They're not in the white robes out there going around. Here's a good joke. Do you know why there aren't a lot of black Catholics? Would you want to join a group where the leader wears a white hood and a robe? No, you wouldn't. But hey, man. Oh, I know that offended somebody. I don't care. Dude, deal with it. It's a joke. But Juneteenth is a real holiday, and I'm glad. But not enough white people acknowledge it. brothers and sisters all over were, and that's great. Acknowledge it. It's just like, here's the thing. I see all these people posting, all these so-called progressives, open-minded progressives that say Black Lives Matter. I didn't see you guys posting or talking about it. I didn't see you flying any Juneteenth flags. But Gay Pride Month, you turn everything and make it all like, you turn your social media and put flags up and say, yay, I support gays. Okay, cool, nothing wrong with that. But how about supporting other people? I say you didn't do anything doing Jewish American Heritage Month. They say, well, I'm not Jewish. I'm like, well, you're not gay either. You can support other people even if you're not. I support black folks. I'm not black. I come from a black community, and we never cared. I didn't even know I was the only white guy living in my neighborhood pretty much for a long time until somebody pointed it out to me when they wouldn't come in and give me a ride home because they were scared. But do y'all remember in 2020 when George Floyd got in all his trouble and he got killed by that police officer? Do you remember where the Democrats, they wear the kentas, that's the thing around your neck, and it's got the colors of the tribe, and the way it's designed and the colors, those are of a certain tribe. Well, my bro Musa and a lot of other black folks saw this from Africa, and they were pissed. They were really mad because they're like, those are the colors and the shapes of the tribe that sold my people into slavery. So you got Schumer, Pelosi, and all these schmucks over there in D.C. taking a knee. Oh, poor George Floyd. Poor George Floyd. What about poor Martin Luther King? What about Edgar Evers? Sorry, dyslexia is a tough thing. What about Medgar Evers? What about Malcolm X? What about all these regular old Joes, brothers and sisters, just wanted to go to work and couldn't, and were getting killed for being black? But they tried to make something out of it, and that just backfired on them because most people didn't like that because they figured it out. And they were pandering. And let me tell you, people, the political parties didn't flip. All right? They say, well, the Democrat Party's the open-minded, the great ones, and they accept everybody, where the Republicans don't. No, that's not true at all. What it is the Democrats learned how to hide. They learned how to pander. They put people out there, and they're tokens, basically. They're like, look at us. We're putting a black guy in for president. They didn't care. They're doing it for a reason. They're doing it to divide people. They're doing it to control everybody. I honor Juneteenth. I honor a lot of holidays. I think a lot of people should. And I don't care, man, what you say. This country is being divided on purpose because it's the oldest trick in the book. Divide and conquer. Let's turn the whites against the blacks. Let's turn everybody against the Jews. Let's turn the blacks against the Mexicans. Well, that way you're up there in the government with all your power. These big corporations got all your power. They're giving you a little bit at a time, and that's what the Democrats do. Like I said about LBJ, they give them just a little bit to keep them going. But it's funny because most black folks, the majority of the black people that voted in the 2024 election voted for Trump. That's a true fact. The Federal Bureau of Statistics show that. Why do you think that is? Because they're figuring out they're being panded to, lied, and used, and they don't like it anymore. And bless them for figuring it out. It's taken a long time. Let me tell you, when MLK got shot that day, it wasn't James Earl Ray on a freaking rinky-dink bathtub in a flop house and leaving all this stuff nice and neat down by the ground. No, it was higher powers that didn't want King. They didn't want the truth. They don't want the freedom. They don't want us united. And that's why we need to be united, people. Again, united we stand, divided we fall. That's more than just words. That's a good code, and we all need to live by it. All right? And next year, I want more of you crackers out there remembering Juneteenth. And I want you all to start getting along, blacks and whites and everybody. Peace and love, everybody. Unity.